Today I'm going to be taking apart this AHM hopper car, which was made sometime in the 70s, I believe. And I'm going to be repainting it, just making it look a little bit more presentable. So right now it's pretty ugly. Has a lot of dirt on it, and it's just not in the best shape. Additionally, the frame is also bent pretty badly. So I'm going to try to use some dodgy techniques to fix that. I'm also going to replace the couplers. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is just take it apart, which is pretty easy. I'm going to try to do it with one hand. So I already went ahead and unclipped this from the chassis. And that was a little hectic because it's actually clipped on using the steps, and I thought I was going to snap them, but I didn't. Then you need to take the weight out, which just kind of comes out, and then there's these two black pieces. They just kind of come out. Again, doing this with one hand because I'm holding the camera. Then you have your little brake wheel. That appears to be glued on. Yeah, I'm going to take that off camera. And then there's the wheels. Now this is interesting actually, because these are actually metal wheels with like spokes on the inside and everything, which is pretty impressive for what is a pretty cheap model. So I was pretty surprised to see that. And these are just clipped in. I think I'm also going to do this off camera just because this is a pretty delicate piece of plastic. I don't want to break anything, but I will show the finished result in the next clip. So unfortunately, when I was taking this apart, the plastic actually snapped on the chassis. So this is a pretty simple like setup they've got going here. So I don't think it would be very hard to just scratch build a new one out of cardboard and wood or something like that. So I'm not really too set back by this, especially considering the chassis, you can see that is already extremely warped. I was going to attempt to boil it in water to straighten it out, but honestly, I think making a new one would have been the right decision from the get-go, so I'm not really that dismayed that this is broken. Otherwise, all the parts are here, so I'm going to take this container, put them all in here so I don't lose everything. And now I will start by washing the shell. Alright, so I'm back from the sink now. As you can see, it's still a little wet, but it's cleaned up pretty nicely. All that gunk that was on there is gone. It was some sort of foliage from the previous owner. It was in a large box of just stuff, and yeah, it was pretty nasty, but as you can see, it looks pretty nice now. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to attempt to come up with a solution for the issue with the chassis being broken. So I'm thinking, rather than trying to make an entirely new chassis, I'm going to take this piece of cardboard and basically trace like this piece essentially so that it fits in here, but rather than trying to make new ends like these specialized pieces, I don't know what you'd really call those, and the connector points for the trucks, I'm just gonna take a Dremel, cut these off, and glue them on to the thing I'm going to make here, so that I don't have to deal with the issue that would arise if I tried to fabricate an entirely new chassis, which would be that since these are, I'm not sure, clips, they wouldn't really go into the cardboard very well. But if I just take these, they're already perfectly matched for these, so I think that's the best solution right now. But before I do that, I am going to paint the body first, so let's get into that. Alright, here's the hopper car. As you can see, I've finished the bulk of the painting, at least for the undercoat. I primed it using a Valspar branded primer. It's kind of the right color, so I figured it would be good. But unfortunately, it did leave like a bumpy finish. Like if you look really closely, you can see it, but it's not a big deal because it doesn't really look like terrible or anything. It's just kind of not really what I wanted, but I'll live. Then I painted it with this Anita's Red Rust acrylic paint, and I used a brush to apply that, and it looks really good. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Then I did some clear coat with like a rattle can, but I mean, like, it looks fine, but it's a little too shiny for my taste, so I went ahead and ordered some Tester's Dull Coat, and hopefully once that arrives I'll be able to finish this project off, because this is going to be it for this video at least. And the next one I'm going to be doing the weathering and the detailing and the load and the decals and all that stuff, but just for this video I wanted to paint the body and do the chassis. And speaking of the chassis, the excuse me, the cardboard worked very nicely. I didn't glue it on yet, but because I'm waiting to do the detailing before I do that, since some of it will get in the way if I do it wrong. But I've just kind of let this run around my layout a little bit, like this. Just let it, like, the weight is enough to keep it down, and it runs perfectly. And these are the replacement trucks, because the other one was melted, and they run perfectly. The only thing I don't love about them is that the coupler boxes stick out just a bit, like a bit too much, but this is supposed to go here, and it kind of does, it kind of covers it a little bit, not as much as I would like it to, but it is what it is. And I'm not really a rivet counter, so I don't care too much. So yeah, I'm gonna finish this video off by showing this running around my layout. So enjoy that, and thanks for watching.